Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and XRP is just dying to hit 25 cents today. And I really hope that happens. I think that'll be a significant number for us. Now, the market cap has gone up pretty good, up to $333 billion now. So I wanted to mention that. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to add on, I've got even more Miguel Vias clips where he was talking in the conference call I was in last night. So I'm going to play that at the end of this. I think a lot of it will be eye-opening. The guy's a brilliant guy. You obviously know that. And he was the head of XRP markets at Ripple. You're going to love it. Okay. Next, I want to show you this. This was from XRP Joker on Bloomberg. Look at this.
I spoke with Kenneth Rogoff this morning of Harvard University on an important Group of 30 study of digital currencies. We're going to touch on that quickly here with Raghuram Rajan of Chicago, Group of 30 Working Group Co-Chair.
It's in the Group of 30.
RBI Governor of their central bank as well. Raghuram, wonderful to have you with us today. What is the distinction of your study? What does this drive forward about how technology is changing money?
Well, this is the digital currencies are a revolution, right? For the first time in 300 years, we can replace cash with something digital. Now, we've already replaced bank accounts. We have digital bank accounts, but think of everything going digital and what possibilities that creates, but also what challenges. If, for example, the government issues this digital currency, the amount of data it's going to collect, the amount of privacy it's going to violate, and what concerns that raises. Those are what are made possible by these new technologies, cryptocurrencies, government digital currencies. That's what this report is about.
When we talk about digital currencies, it's one aspect to talk about technology and just creating a digital form of what we already have. It's another to say we're debasing the existing currencies. Let's come up with an alternative that could preserve its value in tandem with gold. Which side are you on as the most plausible for the future of digital currencies?
Well, it's the first. I think this idea of a private cryptocurrency, which is forever going to maintain its value, is interesting. But, credible central banks have done that with fiat currencies. So really the issue is once we convert that cash, the stuff that you have in your wallets, into something digital, what new possibilities arise and what new challenges? How do we contain all the concerns that emerge from that? And that's really what this is about.
Dr. Rajan, I must bring this up. For the first time ever, folks, in all my years, I have taken a book of the summer of a...
Okay, now I wanted to point out two things. First, while that video was playing, my phone showed me that XRP has just hit 25 cents. So there you go. The second thing I want to point out is that you may recognize this guy. He's in the Group of 30. And by the way, we showed you papers in my last video where from Ian Northing, where the Group of 30 specifically mentions XRP and Ripple in the document. He's in the Group of 30, and you may recognize him. His name's Raghuram Rajan, I believe is how you say it. Well, the reason you recognize him is because he was at Swell 2019 on stage with Naveen Gupta, and I was actually there sitting in the audience, so he jumped out at me the second I saw him. Now, things are happening fast, folks. Today, Brian Brooks, the head of the OCC, sent this tweet out. Congrats to Vero, let's see what this guy's name is, Colin Walsh, and the Vero Money team, the first consumer fintech to receive a national bank charter. As other fintechs mature and grow nationally, the message from the federal banking system is, come on in. That sounds like a Brad Combs saying. The water's fine. And the water's fine, come on in. That sounds like something I said. is Brian Brooks listening to Brad Combs and the digital asset investor? What is going on here? This is something I say all the time, and that's something Brad Combs says all the time. I'm going to have to call him and ask him what he thinks about that. But anyway, this Vero Money is right here, veromoney.com. And I had never heard of it before, but looking down, I decided I would go and look at what is it about Vero Money. I always like to look at who's on their board. The first thing that jumped out at me is they got two people from Warburg Pincus that jumped off the page. They got two people on the board of directors that are from Warburg Pincus. Well, the reason that interests me is because I know someone else who's on the board or not on the board, but is the president of Warburg Pincus, and that is Timothy Geithner, the guy that headed the New York Federal Reserve during the 2008 financial crisis. And the 2008 financial crisis, as we all know, has everything to do with digital assets. Let's go back to Vero. So those are board members, and then I went down and saw some investors, and I just jumped at this one right here. Gallatin Point Capital, decided to go check them out. Who are the founders of the founders are, well, this guy, Matthew Botine, turns out he served as chief officer for alternatives and co-head of BlackRock Alternative Investors. So he was at BlackRock. And then this guy over here, if you look right here, it says previously he served at the U.S. Treasury Department as counselor to the secretary and head of the Financial Crisis Response Team. Before serving at Treasury, he was a partner at this, okay? Everybody, all roads lead back to the financial crisis. That's the point, folks. Now, I wanted to point something out to you that I think has been missed. The day that the OCC announcement that banks would be allowed to custody digital assets, two things happened. The first thing is traditional financial media ignored the announcement. And the second thing is the first thing I saw come out was this idea. Banks won't rush to hold crypto, but OCC's regulatory approval makes it harder to ignore. In other words, we're going to poo-poo this whole lot. Yeah, it's going to happen, but it's way off. Well, the digital asset investor is not buying it. Look how Brad Garlinghouse reacted to it. Remember, Brad Garlinghouse said that banks would custody these things back in 2018, and his prediction was for 2019 that they would actually custody it. So listen to what he said.
And I got in trouble when I went back to the office because the PR team said I had overstepped by predicting that within a year, I predicted that financial institutions like banks would be using XRP in their payment flows. And that was a year ago that I made that prediction. And I go back to the office and everybody's like, Brad, you're not allowed to say things like that. It turns out I was right. Which I remind the team of. So now as I look forward a year from now, like what are the things that are hard for us to imagine being true? And not even specific to Ripple or to XRP's community. I think one of the things that will surprise us a year from now is that banks will be custodying digital assets directly. And I think right now we think about that and think, look, there's no way that's going to happen. They're too conservative. And I think what you're seeing is, two things happening. One is banks are seeing that a lot of money is being made by digital asset exchanges globally, and banks are profit motivated. The second, and as we've talked about it here, certainly Ross has made very clear, is regulatory clarity and regulatory frameworks enable banks and financial institutions to lean into these markets. And I think we will surprise ourselves by this time. But I'll also predict that it will be banks in the ASEAN markets where there is this regulatory clarity and there is a lot of progressive forward thinking. They'll be the first to actually allow for crypto assets custody.
All right. So then when the announcement came out the other day, Brad Garlinghouse tweets this. 2020 Brad to 2018 Brad, and he's tweeting out this article. Ripple CEO's very Ripple prediction, banks will hold your crypto in 2019. So he's basically in this tweet saying he was wrong about it being in 2019, which pushes it to 2020 is the way I read all of that. So I thought that was interesting. Now, before I show you the Miguel Vias clips, I have a lot of people that were asking me about this. I showed this the other day. This is in the description of all my videos. PureVPN. Now remember, this allows you, we got hackers out the wazoo. We're reading things every day about hackers trying to steal our digital assets and things. but you need to be surfing anonymously. This is what I do. Introducing 7-day trial for only 99 cents. This is PureVPN. This allows you to download the software for 99 cents. You can try it for 7 days. And then once you do, you're surfing the web anonymously. You can put it on your computer and on your phone. And this is what I do. So you can't see where people are. These hackers can't track you down. It's a big deal. So go check that out in the description if you don't have one. And it applies to everyone because look, if you hold crypto, you don't want people being able to get to you. That's the fact, Jack. Okay. And now the Miguel Vias interview. But before you see that, I wanted to tell you something. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that I've got some exclusive Miguel Vias content right here. Thank you for listening.
Really great for us, Fox. Because I felt like for a long time, the space outside of traditional banking in crypto has been moving towards these prime brokerage services. And you've seen that a lot lately. You've seen, folks like Genesis Trading and Tagomi and kind of all throw out the PB kind of moniker. And I feel like SFox has been doing that to a certain level for a long, long time. The challenge with prime brokerage is obviously the balance sheet. No one in crypto has the balance sheet to service, $25 billion hedge funds and family offices and, the pension funds. And now here we are with kind of the first step. Right. This is the first step when the OCC says, hey, you guys can go ahead and custody assets. Now you're just one hop, skip, and a jump away from having full-blown PB services for crypto, which, to Matthew's point, can unleash just a torrent of capital towards the markets. And folks like anybody who's built out the plumbing and the piping and the infrastructure, the security is going to be, I think, prime targets either for acquisitions or for mergers, right? I think it's incredibly exciting because it's the first, I think, concrete step of traditional finance moving towards crypto, and it's been a long time coming, but it was very, very, very encouraging. Look, I think it is, like I said, I think it's the first substantive move of the traditional world moving towards the digital world. I think it's a wonderful development. And certainly kind of think about it from like a Ripple point of view, it could not be better news, right? Because now I think the company's prime target audience, which is banks, are allowed to do more things with crypto, which is nothing but positive. So no, I think it's wonderful. As we think about, we've talked a lot about kind of the challenges around legacy infrastructure in particular. We talked a lot about domestic challenges, but the international kind of financial infrastructure is really antiquated as well. So I think it's great that the states are kind of moving in that direction, and as you watch the other banks do that globally, I think we can start to move to a world where you can start having digital currencies just flowing back and forth between these non-connected monetary systems in a way that's much more efficient than we have today. I promise I'll answer it, but first there's a couple of qualifications here, and I think Matthew mentioned this. I think we'll see the big investment banks, JP, Goldman, Morgan Stanley less so. They've been really hesitant about the space, but kind of the bigger investment banks offer that ability to access the markets to big investors, big pools of capital first. That'll be the first thing. I don't know how long. It's interesting from a retail perspective. I'm less. I don't know. I think it'll have to be really. I don't know if it'll be a big established bank. I bet more one of the digital, like a Revolut or a Chime or an N26 or a Monzo, which a lot of those guys already allow you that thing that you can just because look, right now on my Bank of America app, it's not easy for me to buy stocks, right? It's different. And I think worlds are converging, right? I think JP can speak to this much better than I can, but now everybody's expecting you to be able to do everything. I want fractional investing. I want to be able to Venmo money. I want to be able to pay. I want my money to make money all in one place. And the banks in that respect are very far behind, right? I mean, you're watching other folks like Uphold really race ahead in that world.
Bye.